Hello and welcome to this theories video on this new show that hit Netflix a few weeks ago. So that was called The Night Flyer, which is based on the novella by George R.R. Martin. So this video is centric to explaining the ending of the entire season. So if you haven't yet finished the season, warning, spoilers ahead. Also, just before I mention my theories, I did enjoy this TV show, but I did think it had some major flaws. But still, I found it generally quite enjoyable. Leave me some feedback below if you'd like me to do a review on the entire season. Doing a season review is something I've been definitely toying with. But anyway, onto the theories. So these theories are really pertaining to Carl Brennan. So the final scene of the TV show. What timeline did he return into? Was it even a timeline? Was it a parallel universe? Or another situation? The final scene suggested something completely different. And the outcome of that character. I'll also just want to mention, I'll hardly even mention any other characters with these theories. It really is very centric to Carl Brennan and his family. So the ending scene I found was really open to interrogation, you could say. It can be interpreted a few ways. Is that a flaw with the delivery of the TV show, or is it intentional? Nevertheless, these are theories that I found interesting, and also I have a few points to back them up. So let's start with theory number 1. So this incorporates time travel, so please bear with me. First, let's just detail out the events surrounding Carl's story arc. So in the first scene, when Carl informs his wife Joy he got accepted onto the Night Flyer. So he then spent 6 months after that point preparing for his trip on the Night Flyer. In that time, the Celio virus infected his daughter Sky, and it was Carl's call, his decision, not to evacuate to a safe place because of his preparations for the Night Flyer trip. The resulting incident, his daughter obviously died, and he continued on his journey upon the Night Flyer, and we kind of saw the result of his mental state after that point. So then onto the Night Flyer. So the first part of this theory really begins when Carl starts using the memory machine, or the memory module, but it's when it's powered by the Vulcan tech. So he speaks to his daughter, who at that point informs him of an alternate situation. So she was saying that she is alive, and she witnessed his departure from Earth. This is a direct contradiction to his memories himself. So at this point, she's referring to an alternate timeline. So a timeline that she was sent to her Aunt Jane's and never contracted the Celio virus. And she was able to witness her father's departure from Earth and going to the Night Flyer. So at the end of the season, when Carl flies into the gigantic Vulcan sphincter, he gets right in there, and he returns to Earth. He has returned 6 months prior to him leaving. So this is the same date time when the show opens. So it's the same time, the same place, the same scene, if you will. So he's gone back in time to correct his big mistake and to save his daughter. So this is now the timeline of his daughter who approached him within the Vulcan-powered memory suite or the memory module. So in this timeline, he saves his daughter by sending her to Aunt Jane's, and he still travels on the Night Flyer. As we know, because that's what his daughter told him. He still does travel on it. But to what end, we don't really know. But the point would be that Sky is now alive, and Carl Brennan, which is much better mentally and hopefully able to complete their mission without all the situations that unfolded in the TV show. So here's a few pieces of evidence to support the theory of Carl going back to that timeline. So Carl's flashbacks, when he's traveling inside the Vulcan, everything he sees starts going backwards. So also, his daughter's clothes, at the same time, from his initial memory to when he returns, his daughter's wearing the same clothes. So is his wife. In addition, his daughter's bedroom and the lounge where his wife is, it's all the same setup. It's even the same linen on the bed. The article his wife is listening to is the same news article. So for all the scenes, there's matching things. There's some slight differences, but generally it's all the same. We also see a heavy suggestion from the Vulcan that they can move human tissue through time and space. Perfect example was the probe being sent back to the ship. So that probe had Carl's tissue inside it, his DNA, which not only traveled through space, it also went through time as well. So and finally as well, something else to add is the bracelet. The bracelet which his daughter gave him to give to the aliens. So she said, so we can all be friends. So this bracelet was left within a Vulcan as a gift to them, and it's no longer on his daughter or himself as well. So for me, all this does suggest a looping timeline. So not a parallel universe, or anything else really. It just, to me, suggests that Carl goes through the time, and then he goes back to the start, and he manages to change it. We're just getting hints of what happens along the way. But let's go a little crazy here. Let's move on to theory number 2, and let's really push the boundaries of crazy. So theory number 2. So this is the theory that the Vulcan is just a massive memory module itself. So perhaps when the Vulcan are involved with the memory machine, so we see when Carl integrates the technology with the human technology, it's able to display exactly what you want to see. So instead of displaying memories, it's displaying your greatest desires. So that would make sense for when Carl sees his daughter and he's given hope that she's still alive. There's a way he can save her. And when we see him fly into the gigantic Vulcan sphincter again, it was actually the Vulcan throat. And the subsequent vision or memory is actually Carl being consumed, or joining the gelatinous goo of the Vulcan. Perhaps he's slowly being absorbed by a gigantic Vulcan stomach. And whilst he's being consumed, his brain is being stimulated in the same way the memory machine went about it. So showing Carl what he wants to see. So he wants to go back in time and undo his mistake, and that's exactly what the Vulcan are showing him. So in his greatest desire, his greatest wish is to save his daughter, sending her to Aunt Jane's so she doesn't catch that virus. Meanwhile, his body is being digested, so getting him to obviously be unaware that he's been consumed. You see, hang on, I think this theory actually has come from an old Red Dwarf episode. But anyway, I still like it. I still think it's quite cool. Quite a cool idea. But anyway, so those are 2 theories. One obviously to do with time, another one to do with craziness. Those are my 2 main theories at the moment. I hope you did enjoy them. I also did read the novella written by George R.R. Martin and watch the movies from the 80s. Neither of those really added anything in addition to this topic. They really didn't touch upon what the Vulcan did at the end and anything along that lines. Both those pieces of work are more concentrated on the actual NightFlyers ship. But before I finish up here, I just wanted to point out as well, if you disagree with what I said, or disagree with my theories, that's okay. Having opposing views isn't negative or something to be defensive about. We're all different and interpret life differently. These theories are what I came away with from the show. So let me know your thoughts. Did you like the series? Did you like the NightFlyer? Do you agree with either of those theories? Do you like either of those theories? Let me know if you want me to do that season review, as it is something I'm toying with. I do think there's some points I would like to talk about with this season. It's also difficult to start talking about the ship and crew as well. I thought I could start talking about theories around there, but because it all hinges on the director's and the writer's interpretation of time travel, it gets really messy when he's talking about other people within that timeline. But does the timeline even end with the Brandon gone back in time? I guess that's the point, right? The director can go either way with this. Is it the analogy of the time travel as a tree? So every timeline is a different branch and it's going in its own direction and the branch will continue to grow? Or is there something else? Is it just a forever ending loop? It could be any direction the director and writer wanted to take with it. Anyway, I've rambled on far too long, but I'll leave this here. So subscribe for future content around other things that are coming out on the Netflix. I'll try to pick some stuff up. Thumbs up if you like this content. But until next time, this is Mesh, and I'll see you later.